Holy Puck, your number one source of hockey news, views, and abuse. It seems to be par for the course for the fucking Habs these days.
I will definitely take all your advice on spark plugs.
You're a piece of shit. It's good, wholesome fun.
Vibes all around.
Good vibes all around. Holy Puck.
Old fans longing for a return to the glory days.
So aggressive.
And then there's young fans
So
who don't know what a
aggressive.
glory day is.
Shame!
Braden Spudby.
It was such a one-sided fight. It was brutal.
That's top-notch comedy. If you don't appreciate that, you can fuck off.
Hello, people. Hello, Internet. My name is John, and this is Cameron. Welcome to Holy Puck, episode 26.
Hello.
Who is this fine gentleman accosting your calf, Cameron?
That's my good friend Jake.
Hi, Jake. Hello. So, for those of you playing along at home that aren't aware, Cameron lost a bet. And that bet was to get a Phil Kessel tatty. And that's right, Big Phil. We're getting that tatty right now on the internet.
I swear to God, if he doesn't at least reply to a message, I'm going to be devastated.
He's definitely not replying, but that's totally cool.
Maybe his manager will reply and send me a cease and desist. You're ruining Phil's brand.
That's probably more
accurate, more likely.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're here. We're getting a Phil Kessel tatty, which is looking excellent, by the way. Let's talk a little bit about what's been happening in the hockey world because we've got nothing else better to do.
What are we going to do first? Free agency.
Of course. Well, so apologies for those of you who are watching. We're going to be flicking our beans / back and forth to the phone every so often to just get a look at what's been happening over the last few weeks in terms of
I can tell you what happened today.
Hockey banter, all the trades. Some things happened in Arizona. Michael Latta got traded. There's lots of stuff that's been going on that's super important.
What? Well, not Michael Latta getting traded.
Wrong. And let me tell you why later in the show.
No, but good things out of Arizona, though. Shane Doan signed for 1 more year with the Yotes today.
He did, and making him a one-team player, and thus fulfilling the prophecy.
That'll be 21 years with the same team.
I know. I'm glad. I'm very glad.
I'm happy for him. And how old is he going to be? 39?
I was going to say 200, but that's probably more accurate.
So at 39, he's still playing professional hockey when everyone in this room right now hurts when they get out of bed.
Yeah, well, my knee still kind of hurts when it gets cold. So you know how it is.
So Shane Doan's older than all of us and in way better shape.
He is. So, how's it feeling, Cam? Give us a play-by-play so far of Jake's excellent work.
Jake's a gentle guy. He's got soft hands. He'd probably make a really good defenseman, actually.
I think so too. Well, Jake, turns out, is an LA Kings fan. And sorry, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Kings later on, which is great. Jake can chime in and tell us a little bit about what he thinks about Dusty Brown's shit haircut and the rest of it. So there's going to be lots going on.
Hopefully it's realistic banter because I don't see them winning a cup for another 10 years.
Yes, that's going to be a big problem. But we can also talk about Big Drew and how he refuses to do chin-ups.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff we can talk about. Lots of stuff.
Do you know what we should kick off with, though? I want to get hard into the last of the trades and the free agent moves.
Oh, well, I, for one, am very, very excited about that. So...
Well, you know how we're going to tackle it? I've taken the liberty of writing up who I feel has won free agency thus far.
Really?
How do you feel talking about that?
I would love to talk about that. Tell me more. Sorry, I'm just playing with the levels on the iPhone / laptop, so please don't be offended, oh yeah, at home.
All right, well, for my mind, there's 5 clear winners thus far. Would you like to know who they are?
Tell me more, Cameron. Who are they?
The Carolina Hurricanes.
Ah, yes. Who have actually done incredibly well, despite being rubbish for the last few years.
Well, from the top, right? So luring Lee Stempniak away from the Bees, I think was a real coup. He's not a sexy name, but he's reliable, he's underrated, and he can put up 40 points in the right situation. Obviously, they picked up Teravainen and Bickle, which was another def move from Ron Francis. Well done.
I've talked about this a lot. I think Teravainen's a legend, and I think Brian Bickle is going to give them that extra punch, a.k.a. actually punching dudes. I think they need that. And obviously letting, what's-his-name go to the Caps the other day was a sure sign that they backed Brian Bickle to punch dudes for the next year or so.
Well, they stitched up Victor Ross today again as well another, I think, 5 or 6 years maybe?
No, it's 6.
6 years?
Yeah.
So their young core, especially down the middle, is intact. So I think the Canes are actually looking really good. What a lot of dudes overlook. They were sneaky competitive last year as well.
They almost made the playoffs.
Yeah.
I know. I had Ben sitting next to me the whole time going, if this team loses and then this team lose by 3, we can potentially maybe make the playoffs.
Well, there's 2 things in Carolina, right? They've improved quite a bit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say barbecue, but keep going.
Well, that too. And there's a number of teams in their division that haven't improved at all. I think those 2 things together, we'll be seeing them in the playoffs next year.
Oh, well, that's great news, Cameron.
Would you like to hear team number 2?
I've got some time.
They live in upstate New York. Do you know who it is?
Oh, is this where you go if your last name's Kane and you want to get in trouble with the law?
Yeah.
I think it is. Anyway.
Well, before we dissect the Sabres, I read today that, you know how they're actively shopping Evander Kane?
I'm aware of that, yes. Oh, well, they kind of have to, right?
The Flyers are interested. Yeah.
That works for me.
Well,
that works for me. I mean, I'll see where you're going with it.
They initially discussed a trade for...
Sick, by the way. You're killing it.
They initially discussed a trade for Evander Kane.
Tatty update. Looks fucking sick, by the way.
Sick. Last time Winnipeg when Winnipeg first tried to move him.
Oh, yeah, when no one was interested.
Well, what they offered was Braden Shen. And they
Ah.
couldn't get the deal done. So Braden Shen's had a good year. That won't be happening now. But
See, he actually was surprisingly good all year.
Well, look, Buffalo want another D-man. Philly have a surplus of them in their system. I reckon you could see a young defensive prospect and a 1-for-1 for Kane. How does that float your boat?
It floats my boat. I will disagree with you where I feel that there's going to be more trade picks involved because if you're another team and you're looking at Evander Kane,
that's fair.
You're taking a risk no matter what because it could be, aka what's happened every team he's been to, flashes of brilliance, general shitness.
I kind of feel like the Flyers aren't going to tolerate that shitness as much. So I think Ron Hextall's is likely to punch him out himself if he carries on. I think
Claude Giroux could probably choke him out.
Nah, Wayne Simmons. He'll get it done.
Wayne Simmons does not fuck around. You are correct.
But back onto Buffalo, though. So, look, they addressed their need for a top-line winger right off the bat.
Did.
I feel they've paid overs for Okposo, 7 years at $6 million a year.
They had to pay overs for him, though, because look at all the other teams that would have been potentially fielding offers.
I get it. I totally get it.
They needed to lock him in very quickly, and they locked him in.
I get it.
Just like your haircut, by the way. Locked in.
I get it, and I don't have a problem with the money. I got a problem with the term. I think 7 years for a power forward's pretty risky because his body's going to start to break down, and he's not young.
You've seen this year on year now. Like, what was it, 2 years ago when the Caps picked up their pair of defensemen, they pushed the market up. This year, it's power forwards where the market has gone. Everyone has pushed towards the power forward, like, oh, shit, we got to pick one up.
It's kind of weird that teams talk about skill and speed, and it seems like everyone's made a play for that big bruising, power forward this year.
We're talking about the guy who's standing right in front of the goalie, for those of you playing at home.
It's interesting, though, because the NFL, the last couple of years, the move's been towards, like, it's been an aerial game and And this year, a lot of team movements look like, and Chris Wessling said this, that they want to make that return to smash mouth football, like big, heavy, lumbering running backs. So kind of seems like it's the same approach.
Yeah, like, we're going to see the guy standing in front, punching some dudes, maybe getting a little bit of physical, maybe inciting some injuries. I think it's all good, Cam.
I don't like that. But look, the deal that flew under the radar for a lot of people is Dmitry Kulikov, who they got from the Panthers.
Yes, for nothing, by the way.
No, well, they traded up Mark Pissick for him. But, I mean, Kulikov's only 25, but he's been in the league for 6 or 7 years, so he's already a veteran. So, again, look, the Sabres showed a little last season, even with some injuries and missing a lot of pieces. Given how hard they've retooled some of their key positions again, given how weak some parts of their division are looking, they could be a playoff team.
They could be. I'm sorry, I'm just going to drop out for a quick Instagram flash, if you wouldn't mind, Cameron.
Okay.
But tell me a little about the Panthers, Cameron.
All right. Well,
how have they gone in their off-season moves?
This is my clear-cut favourite. I love what they've done. Re-upping Ekblad long-term solidifies their core for years to come, and they're going to pair him with Keith Yandel. So that power play and their puck movement is just ridiculous. Mark Pissick's a good piece. He's a sturdy defender. And they managed to wrangle Jason Demir away as well for 5 years. So
I like that they locked down Ekblad. Because, the spacey in space
huge
theme runs deep here. Getting Keith Jandal's also great.
The Yandel, Ekblad, Demir's moves, their blue line looks incredible. There's a bit of a TBC on this one for me. They signed Vincent Trocheck long-term, 5 years, which I back because he had a breakout year, and they've done the same for Riley Smith. However, both of them have just had that one good year. You got to be concerned about giving dudes term after one good year.
Well,
like if it doesn't work out, you're kind of stuck.
This is a frequent Bruins mistake.
Well, yeah, it's a very Bruins mistake.
So, I mean, it runs deep in the East Coast. We know that. But, it's pretty good.
The interesting wrinkle for me is because Trocheck's just blown up, he'll go to that second line center slot. I think it makes Nick Bugstad trade bait.
Bustad. Yeah.
Bugstad trade bait. So
Yeah.
he's like a big, sturdy American-born player. There's going to be a lot of teams in the market for him.
Yes.
If he's been supplanted by Trocheck, I think he'll get moved eventually.
Stop the presses. We spoke about the big Rhymes dog for so many weeks on the podcast.
Do you mean Optimus Rhyme?
I do. So we was talking, is he going to stay in San Jose? Actually, you should test the market. It's going to be great. Turns out it's been great. So he
5
picked
years,
up
17 mil.
Excellent. That's a great payday. Now, as a friend of the podcast, James Reimer, we back you hard 100%.
Yep.
Good on you. So they're obviously looking at Luongo fading away slowly and gracefully, with Reimer taking the reins towards the end.
Well, it's two-pronged as well, right? Because here's
So
what
it works out pretty good, right?
Here's what you get. Like, not only do you have a potential backup for Luongo if he gets injured or as he's aging, but what you've now got is the ability to rest Luongo for 30 games a year and keep him fresh to the playoffs, which they didn't have last season. So for me, that's smiles all around in the tax-free state of Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. And you know what? Whilst they do have a couple of aging legends, they've got a very, very good what's the word I'm looking for? Bank of young dudes who are really fresh and young, virile.
The young core looks amazing. Like,
Of course.
Anything short of a Stanley Cup Finals appearance next year will be a disappointment for them.
Exactly. Totally unfair.
However, the X factor for them is that they're going to have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Cup Final to get there, in the Eastern Conference Final to get there, because all hail Stevie Yzerman.
Yeah, I agree.
Why is that, John?
Oh, well, because he is
He's Yoda.
He is the GM of GMs.
He's Yoda.
He is the man of the hour. He is the one true God, according to running a team and psyching out young, miserable players, because he's been there before. He's seen it in the late 90s. He knows how to play these superstar players, and he knows how to win.
Well, what's he done? So he showed, first off the bat, Jonathan Drouin, he showed him that the Bolts are... He wants to stay with the Bolts and has rescinded his trade request.
Yep.
So win one there. He signed Big Victor Hedman for 8 years, $63 million, which means his lead defenseman stitched up till 2024, and he's left some money on the table to bolster out the rest of the team.
Sure has. It all looks good, to be honest.
What, the Tatty or Tampa Bay?
Well, all of it, Cameron.
And then obviously...
Let's be honest. The Instagram game's going to go off today. I feel like they're doing a great job.
And then you've obviously got the white whale. After months of speculation, Stamkos told everyone to get fucked, and he's staying in Tampa Bay.
I like that he stayed. I don't know about you.
All right. Well, I actually went to the effort, right? So he's getting $68 million.
Hey, also, how weird is it that you're laying down and I'm sitting down?
$68 million. I feel like you're a doctor. $68 million.
The dude in the chair next to you is like, you guys are fuckheads.
$68 million with Florida's lack of state taxes.
So not cheap, but...
he's actually going to net more than he would have going to Toronto. So...
Oh, in terms of the terrible Canadian taxation system.
Exactly right.
Yes.
The one wrinkle for me, Ben Bishop's still on the books. You'd expect that he's going to get traded by February.
So you'd expect that he's going to not be there by the end of the year. So you're
Vasilevsky's emerged this year. He was great. He's a more financially conservative move, and
well, he's young gun. He can do what he needs to do.
Well,
give us a smile, Cameron.
Here's what he needs, right?
Love it.
Here's what he needs. He needs the money from Bishop so he can re-sign Kucherov long term.
Oh.
So I could legitimately. Here's one for you. There's no reason Bishop couldn't go to the Dallas Stars.
Wow. Well, their goaltending does suck, and how much have we spoken about goaltending being a very serious problem?
I'm not even going to get into their goaltending.
It's not worth it because there's 25 other podcast episodes where we've talked about how rubbish the goaltending is in Dallas, so we don't need to go there.
Yeah, it's no good. So basically, he'll move Bishop by Feb. Vasilevsky will become the number one, and he can use the money to bring in some more assets and sign Kucherov long term.
Huge.
What's going on back there?
Oh, I'm just putting together a nice collage for our Instagram.
How are we looking so far? Oh, that's sweet.
It's fucking sick. This will be on the Instagram right now as of 6:12 in the PM.
Fantastic. And
so let's be honest, Jakey's nailing it, by the way.
He's a good He's a good guy.
Please leave me out of it.
All right, I want to talk about the Predators, the Smashville Predators.
Cameron, can you see that?
Kind of, not really. Yeah, I'll just go off my phone.
I thought you might. Sorry, my laptop's hideously small.
That's all right. So look, the Predators now have the best defense in the NHL. It's not even close. And if you argue with me, you're a fuckwit.
Would you bet a tatty on it, Cam?
I would bet a tatty on it. The Saban-Weber trade nearly broke the internet, and rightfully so. The deal gives the Predators a top 4 unit whose oldest member is only 28.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So if you go on the rules of the expansion draft, right, where you're allowed to protect 8 total skaters, you don't have to break them into defense or forwards. They can protect Saban, Yossi, Ekholm, and Ryan Ellis with 4 forwards, meaning that defensive group can stay together till the end of time. That's ridiculous.
Things are going hectic.
And they re-signed Philip Forsberg 6 years, $6 million a year, which is a fucking bargain. And because they've offloaded Weber's deal, that's not going to come back to bite them when they're 40, or when he's 40, I should say. And obviously they got Ryan Johansson this year. They are now a legitimate threat in a traditionally crowded Central Division.
Yeah, and we've always been big fans here, and I really think that Subban's going to make a huge difference over there. Not only is he an absolute legend off the ice, but I think that his style of play, being that slightly offensive-minded at times when required, will work very well for Nashville. Don't you think, Cameron?
I do think.
Oh, you can see now.
I can see now.
Well, see, I'm here for you, Cameron.
Thank you.
I don't want to touch you, but I'm here for you nonetheless.
Well, let's talk about not the Predators, the Coyotes.
Oh, well, we let off with the news that came out early this morning, where Shane Doan has signed on again. For what season would this be now?
21.
Yeah, which is groundbreaking.
I love it.
And amazing.
I love it.
I'm surprised that he doesn't have that many wrinkles, to be honest.
He looks good, man.
He looks great. He must be working out.
Yeah, he must work out.
He must occasionally lift.
So back to the Yotes, though. 26-year-old general manager John Chaker, he's fearless. He's
fearless and killing it.
He knows he's getting laughed at by the old boys club, and he does not give a shit.
Why? We talk about this a lot. I back it. I think that this is a coup in terms of the NHL breaking the mold.
The old boys club?
Yeah, how many old, sad, angry white dudes are there that are just they just don't listen to the young people, and they don't listen to maybe trying something different. It's just all greed, Cameron.
Well, that's why they're going to get left behind, but not in Phoenix. So
not in Phoenix.
They've
got a brown uniform as well.
I like it. He's re-signed.
Or it's maroon. Sorry.
However you pronounce it, it's Louis. What is it? Louis Domingue, which is a smart first step.
Not for me.
That's going to allow them to move on from the expensive Mike Smith sooner rather than later, which we love. They offloaded their 5th-round pick to Dallas to get Goligoski's negotiating rights, which paid off. They've stitched him up for 5 years and paired him with OEL, so they are looking good on the blue line. Want to scroll down for me, John? Obviously, they picked up Datsuk's contract in the Red Wings, but it landed them pick 26. And they used that pick on Jacob Chikroon, who has been flagged as potentially the best two-way D-man in the draft, even though he landed outside the top 10. Everything I've seen from this kid looks unreal. I think they found another future stud. Arizona knows what's up. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm Instagramming. Excuse me. I'm being 14.
Well, look, you scroll down so I can keep this shit rolling along while you Instagram pictures of my beautiful leg.
Oh, I'm done now.
But look, and then obviously you add those guys alongside Domi, Declare, Vermette, and Strome. He'll get a gig this year. The Desert's looking pretty legit.
So, Cameron.
John.
Who are the big losers this year?
Everyone who knows me knows that my favorite thing in the world is the Montreal Canadiens.
Wait, is this a sidebar jab the Habs?
I'm so happy at how badly things are going in Montreal.
Let's just put it out there. Getting pissed off at PK Subban and trading him could potentially be the dumbest / most hilarious thing to happen to the Habs for a really long time. Yes or no go?
Every journalist in the Northern Hemisphere has said this is the worst trade in the team's history.
But 1 for 1, but
They basically got a player who's entering his prime with a player who's exiting his prime. Look, Weber is Weber's a world-class D-man. No one's disputing that. You don't trade PK fucking Subban for him.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense.
So look, the team, they've got a boneheaded GM, they've got an asshat of a coach.
Oh, wait. They picked up Andrew Shaw though.
Well, look, your best player is your goalie, who's coming off major back surgery.
Who's probably not going to be right for the start of the season.
They've paid overs for Andrew Shaw for 6 years, even though you've already got Andrew Shaw and Brendan Gallagher.
The Blackhawks refused to sign him, and in fact, they couldn't sign him because of the...
and opted not to.
Exactly, because of the performance bonus issues that we've laughed about so many times. But why would you spend that much on Andrew Shaw? What is the point?
Well, again, I don't care about the money. The money's only $3.9 million, but it's a term. It's 6 years, and you've already got another version of him on the other wing. They missed out on Luch, suck shit,
Yeah,
and they're the one team that said, yeah, okay, we'll pay Alexander Radulov and sign him. Hey, do you know who Radulov's played with before? Oh, Shea Weber. They don't like each other because he's a fuckwit.
Weren't they not mates?
Yeah, Weber doesn't like him.
Yeah.
So the defense is older, their offense isn't potent, and the city of Montreal has legitimately lost a piece of itself. The Habs are fucking corked.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really great to unfold because for a team that started the season so incredibly well last year, who looked like cup destined from week one, like, let's be honest, probably not even going to be in the conversation for the next couple of years based on what they've done in the off-season alone.
Or what they haven't done.
More importantly, good point. So,
let's talk about the next biggest loser, because this one's close to my heart.
Is that because it's the Bruins and they blew it?
Biggest need, top
Thank
four
you.
defenseman. Was it addressed?
No, not at all. In fact, we spoke about this a lot off-air and on-air about the need to pick up Kevin Shattenkirk, and what happened?
Look, the Blues apparently wanted both our first-round picks and Pasternak for him, so I'm glad we didn't.
Hey, but FYI,
however, we've missed out on every
move.
Yeah. However, we've missed out on every meaningful defender on the open market, and
so that means you cook for the next year.
And we signed David Backus, who's a 30-year-old power forward, for 5 years.
Mad.
Great.
So no defense, but you can maybe shoot it and fight.
Well, here's the thing.
See, I really like David Backus, though.
I really like him, but they've penciled him in on Krejci's wing.
Ooh.
I don't know if I see him as a winger when he's a natural center.
That's what I mean.
If they move him to a natural center role, that means they're either going to try and trade Krejci or he's playing third-line center.
Why? Hang on. Why would they even think about trading Krejci for? Like, why would they do that?
Injury-prone.
But I don't know. I feel like that would be a silly move for them, Cameron.
Well,
and other Bees fans who are listening.
Well, here's what's concerning. The Boston Brass has said this season's defense by committee, which is code for...
we don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing. The Bruins haven't regressed, but they haven't improved, and we're not going to keep pace with
the Panthers. Is it GMing by committee as well?
Yeah, they're not going to keep pace with the Panthers, the Bolts, or the Sabres. So,
no, you guys are definitely not making the playoffs. And you know what? I hope that they turn around with a few postseason or during the season weird pickups. They maybe some of those dudes they picked up last year in the draft turn out to be sick. Who knows?
I think our best shot's the newest one, actually, Charlie McAvoy. He could potentially, if he has one more good year with the Terriers, he could pop up and earn himself a spot pretty quickly.
Lots of coulds and maybes.
We need to see big improvement in consistency out of Frank Vetrano as well.
Wow. I'm a Frank Vetrano fan. I even know who Frank Vetrano is, while most Bees fans do not.
I'm a huge fan of old Frankie boy.
Me too.
Hey,
and of the Hayes brother. Yeah. I forget which one. Jimmy, sorry.
Well, you can take the next one, the St. Louis Blues.
Well, by losing, let's be honest, the captain,
Mr. Backus.
And they lost Troy Brower, who picked up an amazing contract.
You should call him by his proper name, which is the Mighty Morphin Brower Ranger.
Of course, excuse me.
And Brian Elliott.
Yes. So they lost almost too much. So they're putting all of their eggs into the Sarasenko basket. Why would they do that?
Well, he doesn't like Coach Ken Hitchcock,
but it's his last season, though, so...
I wonder if Hitchcock will get fired before he finishes his last year.
Well, we talked about this. Remember we were suggesting in our... What was the episode? It was like our...
21, maybe?
Yeah, you know, the crazy shit that might actually happen scenarios episode where we're like, well, maybe this will happen and we should not pick the St. Louis Blues as the team that we're going to hate the most. But in fact, step back and watch it all unfold because it's going to be hilarious.
I legitimately think that they could become roadkill in the Central Division this year.
Yeah, well, they're definitely going to be swept up like a bike into a truck. Like, it's going to be pretty tough.
I love it.
Yeah, well, you know, good and bad. So
do you know what we can talk about now then? Because I don't even want to talk about the Ducks. Fuck them.
Yes, because the Ducks are, of course, our most hated team this year because no Brucey, we're done. Simple as that.
So I want to segue slightly and we want to talk about something a little positive.
Sorry, Cameron. I need to move around.
Oh, okay. Are you uncomfortable, are you?
Oh, my God, Jakey. That looks so sick. Oh, my God. You're killing it, too, by the way.
Stop sounding so surprised. It's almost offensive.
No, I'm trying to keep a little bit of, get up for the boys. A little bit of... God, a little bit of positive attitude, Cameron. Well, look, I'm sorry.
While we're talking about Jake, we should segue and talk about his beloved LA Kings for a minute.
Oh, yes. Oh, we haven't written anything, but that's actually good because we're going to speak.
I actually have.
Oh, of course. I'm not going to bring it up. Oh, maybe I can.
Jake's...
It's okay. We can just edit this shit out later.
Now, look, Jake's a legitimate Kings fan. Do you know how I know that?
Do you have a Kings tatty?
And it's near his dick.
Oh, does that mean that people have to look at your dick when you show them?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Unreal.
So, Jake, how do you feel about losing Milan Lucic?
Yeah, I liked him. I like the way he plays. So I'm not that stoked that he's gone.
So Jake is a little upset that he's lost.
A lot of money for 1 year.
Yeah.
Not just money, you gave up Martin Jones, your future goaltender.
Who smashed you all year, by the way.
and your best defensive prospect, Colin Miller, who's now playing for my boys.
So, let's be honest.
Feel free not to stab me harder as I'm teasing you, by the way.
Not hilarious.